We have to get away from this blame game, folks. It's too much blaming going on. Go ahead and play this clip for us.
But I want to know what you think you and the community got wrong. Was the closing of the schools too draconian?
Will he take responsibility?
How much of a delay did the fact that nobody fully understood the asymptomatic spread of this, nobody figured out that it could actually bust through certain vaccine levels as well? What are the real takeaways and the real lessons for public health?
I think we have to get away from the blame game because so many of the things that you have mentioned were unknowns at the time. It's so easy, and I made that comment in my response to one of the questions that Davis Wallace Wells asked me in
this is in the New York Times profile.
In the New York Times profile. And I didn't mean it as an affront to him, but I said, you know, this is really big time Monday morning quarterbacking here.
But I want
this. Listen to me, and I know the real viewers that get what I'm saying. This is the most protected bureaucrat rat. They brought him out. He did exactly what he did. I have videos on my phone of him flip-flopping about the mask. And this is what pisses me off, Jed. Zero accountability. How many congressional hearings, judiciary hearings, where Rand Paul is screaming at him and they're in your face evidence, you funded this, you did all this, nothing will happen to him. Zero. Pat was talking about investigation year and all that stuff.
No.
I get that. You will never see this guy, for all the people that died, for all the shit that he funded, he'll never see a prison. None of them do. And it frustrates somebody like me because I'm sitting there and I'm saying, okay, the left is the left. Is the right just there to bark just to show us, oh, look, there's two sides. And I don't think there is any side yet. They don't give a shit and they just have us. They have us by the...
Well, it depends what part of the right you're talking about. If you're talking about controlled opposition, which absolutely exists, they're just, they do this. They give you the illusion of actually fighting guys. Like, this guy's a loathsome, Fauci is a loathsome creature.
Yeah,
he makes villains. When you turn on a superhero movie and you see a villain, this guy makes them look
100%.
good. He is that guy. Yep. And the only person that really rivals him in terms of villainous energy is like Klaus Schwab. I also can turn that guy on, and there's a darkness that emanates from them.
Yeah.
Juxtapose him, by the way, with like a Tucker Carlson, who we talked about the strength of Tucker Carlson as being able to say, I got it wrong. Yeah. I did something wrong. I would do it differently now. Even when he was talking about, when Tucker, there was a video, he was on a podcast, I think it was Full Send podcast, I'm not sure, and he was talking about corporate media, and he was saying, I've been on those panels. I've done that myself, and it's loathsome. Yep. The ability to do that, all Fauci has to come out and say is, you know what? We got it wrong. Yeah. If we had to do it again, we'd do things differently, but he can't. He's so committed to the talking point, and he also knows there's going to be no consequence for the lies and the deceit. He is a loathsome creature. My skin crawls when he speaks. And he should be in jail, by the way.
Same as me. And you're right, Jed, going off your thing about Tucker literally in this interview, he said, you know what he said, Jed? He goes, I was pro-Iraq war. He goes, I fucked up. He goes, I'm telling you guys, I messed up. And that, to me, grounds you as a person and makes me go, okay.
Because you're trustworthy.
I trust you because you messed up. Admit it and move on.
How can you trust a guy who, when all the data emerges that he was wrong, still can't take responsibility? Fauci was responsible for giving directives about the lockdowns, for giving directives that led local and state leadership to enforce mandates, to enforce all of this stuff. He was at the top of the chain. Mm-hmm. He's the reason that people lost their businesses. He's the reason that little kids were going to school with masks on. Mm-hmm. He is the reason. Mm-hmm. The data does not support those decisions. So what kind of human could you ever trust again if they can't own up?
Yep.
He's disgusting.
I love that you hate him just as much as I do.
He's loathsome.
Tom.
He is the system.
Yep.
No, it's worse than that. I think it's even worse than that. I think that it's not just Fauci, it's everything that protects and abets Fauci right now. That is the soulless leadership of the country, and we need much different leaders to emerge. This is really stark. You do have people like Rand Paul, but Rand Paul gets portrayed, well, he's a far right-wing guy. He's medically trained and everything, and he's going to scream a lot. Let's just get through this. Whenever he's in a hearing, you get that's how media puts Rand Paul in a box. Okay, here goes Rand Paul. Get ready. This is what you're going to see. But really what you have is a soulless government that is aiding and abetting everything that happened here. And it's disgusting.
It's not just here, too, just as a note. You say aiding and abetting, soulless government. Remember, this is bigger than the United States. Fauci is not only supported by soulless, horrific leadership in this country, but you got to bring in your three-letter organizations. You got to be willing to bring in WHO, the WEF. This guy is supported by heavy big pharma institutions. Is a deep, deep darkness. I thought when you said it's not just that, I thought we were getting into SatanCon, frankly, because there's no joke. There is a deep darkness going on here, and people don't want to. I know even Tucker invoked the supernatural the other day. Something ugly is happening here when it comes to the evilness of these policies. There's something really dark happening. There's a battle of good versus evil.
Well, the cycle of the fallen man.
There has to be accountability. There has to be accountability. So, by the way, whoever runs next, if there's no accountability, people lose trust in the system. There has to be accountability for what he's doing. What is always great, what is always great is the following. Here's what's always great. Is for somebody to invest money into doing a real documentary on him, who is willing to go do the interviews and the legwork. It may take $1 million, it may take $3 million, it may take $5 million. And Netflix and Hulu and some of these guys may not even take that documentary. May need to go to a independent OTT to put it out there for people to see. There's a lot of different ways to do it. But somebody needs to make the right investment, maybe even get involved with an RFK from the research standpoint, go interview some of the older people that used to work at the places and put that documentary up. I'm not talking about like Vaxxed or any of that. Give both sides. Give stuff that he's done right. Give stuff that he's won as well. And then give the other side of the argument and then put that documentary out there. Because somebody like this, if there is anything there, he says we can't talk about blame. We have to blame where the origin came out of. You blamed Trump. You blamed a lot of average people that are sitting there saying, dude, I don't want irresponsible governors, irresponsible this. No, there needs to be the blame. And you being held accountable for it.
So if you like this clip and you want to watch another one, click right here. And if you want to watch the entire podcast, click right here.